How's it going, you guys? So I get a lot of questions from people asking me, can you learn how to fight from the internet? Okay, so on a basic level, anybody who really knows how to fight and has gone through all the necessary training to do so would laugh at that question. But the real answer is yes and no. So if you're just looking to have a basic understanding of how to fight, and you want to be able to defend yourself, and you want to be better than the average Joe, you actually, most likely, depending on who you are and your own natural ability and the way you're approaching it, if you're approaching it in a realistic fashion, you can get pretty decent at the basics of fighting from watching instructional videos and even watching a whole lot of fights, especially fight breakdowns and fight analyses. And the truth is, even if you are going to a MMA gym or a real fighting gym or a fighting class, even if you are learning real fighting in an actual class with a great instructor, you're still going to need to watch fight breakdowns, and you're still going to need to watch instructional videos online and read books as well if you want to really be good. So either way, you're going to want to use the internet because it is a tool. But at the same time, if you're just watching videos and whatnot and you expect to be able to have any idea of what to do when you're actually in a fight, you're kidding yourself. There's a couple of very important elements as far as anybody who wants to learn how to fight under any circumstances. There's a couple elements that are very essential. The first one is actual sparring. If you're not sparring on a regular basis, at least once per week, and I mean full contact sparring, well, full contact meaning continuously striking back and forth, taking hits to the face, just maybe not at full force. You shouldn't be going full force hits and whatnot, but full contact sparring with light contact, if that makes sense. If you're not doing that at least once a week, chances are you're going to die if you ever attempt to actually fight, let alone if you spar for the first time. You'll feel exactly what I'm talking about. If you never spar, you're gonna fucking suck, period. That's why Aikido sucks and why they all think that shit works. That's why that nonsense ninjutsu crap sucks. And that's why any martial art that does not spar usually gets clobbered when they actually are tested in a real fight or a real fight. So, the first most important thing, no matter where you're getting your skill from, no matter where you're learning, is, are you sparring on a regular basis? So if you learn the basics, if you learn how to jab, cross, hook, kick, knee, elbow, how to, if you learn good head movement, you can practice all these things in your spare time. And you can watch a video to show you how. But you got to stand in front of a mirror, you got to videotape yourself, practice on a heavy bag, and then in sparring, work on applying that. You need a live partner. There's no doubt about that. So you can get really good by learning techniques and learning how to fight from online coaches, as long as you spar and use those techniques in sparring. But you're only going to get so far with that. There's a couple of problems people run into when they do this type of thing. So first of all, you can only get as good as your partner is providing. If your partner sucks and you suck, y'all are just going to suck together. You're not going to, be able to fight in the amateur MMA division if you're sparring this way with other people who suck. You're going to suck. Most people in amateur fights suck, though. No doubt about that. They're usually either way too timid and shy and scared, or they're way too hesitant, or they're way too aggressive. Either one is not a good thing. But So, the best way to find good partners to train and spar with is to go to a gym full of fighters who train on a regular basis and have the same goals as you. Some cities have a UFC gym, which at first you might think, oh, that sounds kind of like a marketing scheme and not really a good place to learn how to fight. But the truth is, a lot of people who go to real fight gyms, they sign up for that gym because it's a great place to have a heavy bag. They have weights and conditioning. They have an octagon, and they have other people there that you can hook up with and spar with. It's a great place to find good training partners. And they also do have classes. I have a couple friends that actually teach at UFC gyms. They teach the skill classes, and they teach a variety of different skill levels. So finding good people to spar with is very easy if you go to a real school or if you go to a fighting gym of some kind, full of fighters, obviously. And when you have these types of partners, they can literally become your own coach almost, or they can be a great training partner that has a lot to teach you. Honestly, I think the fastest way to learn is to get good training partners to spar with on a regular basis that have been, that might have fought in the amateurs or even the professional division. And spar with these people on a regular basis and train with these people on a regular basis and ask them questions. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second dilemma is, again, if you're training with people who suck, and if you suck, and if you don't have a coach, how will you know if your skill is actually decent? How will you you need an honest critique in real time of your skill. You need somebody to tell you, hey, more head movement. Are you moving your head properly? Head movement doesn't mean whole body movement to the side, tilting into a damn head kick like Daniel Cormier in their second fight with John Jones. You need a coach to critique you and let you know you're going in the right direction. Without that, it's very easy to fall into bad habits and make those bad habits solidified in a normal thing. It's a very bad place to go, because the more you practice these bad habits, the harder and harder it's going to be to actually change them and improve. So the two most critical elements are, number one, how often are you sparring? And number two, do you have a great fighter that's there to help you to critique and to tell you whether your technique sucks or not? Because most people, they'll be training with people who suck, especially at like traditional martial art gyms, and they have this false confidence because everyone at their gym sucks, and you're like the big fish in a small pond. Like, oh, I'm the best guy at my gym, but the whole gym sucks. And so then you fight somebody who might have even been training on their own for like 2 years, and they could whoop your ass because you've been training around people who suck and you've been limited to those sucky ass people. So I think it's very important to have a realistic approach at the very least, which obviously, if you're thinking realism, you got to spar. And it is very important to, at least for 2 years, go to a decent gym. If you think you're good, go to a real fighting gym. Go to a real fighting gym for 2 years and spar. Make sure it's a place that has champions, and you spar and see if you don't get knocked out. So, if y'all have any questions or comments, make sure you post them down below and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll talk to y'all soon.